105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:37. It's O'Connor and Company. It's election eve, and we got a lot to get to. Coming up at 8:05, Sean Spicer is going to give us his final analysis. He's going to go state by state. Well, I don't know if we can go state by state, but we'll talk about the borderline states, the battleground states with Sean Spicer. Then at 8:35, Annetta Ketchings, the woman who was facing the ire of that very angry Democrat who has 35 years of national security experience. In that Alexandria coffee shop, that viral video we talked about earlier. Annetta will give us her immediate reaction coming up in a bit. That's Julie Gunlock right there.
Good morning.
I'm Larry O'Connor, and let's get right to it with Trevor Matich. Because Trevor, again, Giants aren't a great team, but they're certainly better than the last time the Commanders faced them at home in week 2, I believe it was. So I think I was sort of expecting the Giants to really bring it. But, boy, I mean, the Commanders were in command, if I may say, of this game almost the entire time. They're real. They are definitely for real.
They are definitely for real, Larry. And you're right. They were in command most of the game. There were a few rough spots that they'll need to take care of, especially on defense, the Commanders now. But they were up 21-7 at halftime. And so it was mostly a party for the fans until the fourth quarter when the Giants mounted a furious comeback and started to expose some of those weaknesses that the Commanders are going to have to fix.
Mm-hmm. And Jaden Daniels there was some concern about his bruised ribs. He had to leave the game early a couple of weeks ago, but my goodness, he's playing like there's no problem.
He's playing like not just rookie of the year. I mean, right now, sort of the consensus among analysts nationally is that Jaden Daniels is a lock to win Rookie of the Year. Now they're talking about MVP, like NFL MVP. And some of the other players that are being considered for that at this point in the season are Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs, Josh Allen of the Bills, Lamar Jackson of the Ravens. And the last rookie to win Rookie of the Year was 1957, Jim Brown, Hall of Famer Jim Brown of the Cleveland Browns.
Wow.
And so, I mean, the way he's playing now is just, it transcends what rookie quarterbacks usually do. It transcends what quarterbacks typically do. He's being talked about in company with the elite of the elite.
As you look at their schedule going forward, it's 7-2 now. You've got the second half of the season basically ahead of them, and it looks like it's the tougher part of the schedule. Would you agree?
No, I absolutely agree. The schedule so far has given them a lot of runway to kind of get up to speed. And, the toughest team they played was Baltimore, who's got 6 wins right now. And Baltimore basically dominated that game in Baltimore against the Commanders. Mm-hmm. Well, now they've got Pittsburgh, who's got 6 wins. Then they've got at Philadelphia, who's got 6 wins.
Yeah.
So they'll have a chance now to prove once again that they do belong as a team with the best teams in the league.
So next week against the Steelers, who do you think will be the starting quarterback, Justin Fields or Russell Wilson?
Well, I trust Russell Wilson more. He's had a lot of issues in a lot of ways since he left Seattle. Went to Denver, just failed miserably there. Now he's trying to restart it in Pittsburgh. The difference is that Justin Fields, who was discarded essentially by Chicago after being, the number 1 pick in the draft or one of the top picks in the draft, he still hasn't proven he can be consistent. He's shown that he can have spectacular highlights, and in any one game, he can blow you away. But he also will make spectacular mistakes, whereas Russell Wilson has the savvy to be able to attack a defense on the level of the art of quarterbacking, not just the athletic ability to overpower you. So I would think they would play Russell Wilson, but at the same time, look at it this way. The Commanders' run defense is really struggling. It's one of the worst in the league. And when you talk about running, if you want a quarterback to contribute to that, then you're talking about Justin Fields. So it could be either guy for different reasons, depending on what their game plan will be.
We're speaking with Trevor Matich about the Commanders game yesterday. And if you could, because you played in the NFL several seasons, and talk a little bit about the intangible here about a team believing in the system and feeling this momentum and the confidence. We haven't seen this from a Washington football team in quite some time. After that miracle win against the Bears and now winning on the road against the Giants, a division rival that's both games now they've swept the Giants. You heard this from some of the players in the locker room afterwards. Like, they believe every game they should win the game, and that starts to become infectious, right? And you start buying into what the coaches and the offensive coordinator is telling you to do, and it all feeds upon itself, right?
Yeah, that's a great point, because there is a lot of magic that goes into creating momentum within an NFL football team, and it's because of the expectations. The concept of self-fulfilling prophecy is real on both sides. When Washington was just miserable and found new ways to lose week after week after week, it just became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if you go back to Dennis Waitley, way back in the 50s or 60s in his book, The Psychology of Winning, he says the mind cannot distinguish between reality and that which is vividly and repeatedly imagined. Your primary narrative in your mind is where your body tends to take you. And so, I'll just use this example in college. I played at BYU. My quarterbacks my 4 years were Jim McMahon, who became a Super Bowl champion, or Mark Wilson first, then Jim McMahon, then Steve Young, Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer, then Robbie Bosco, who was third in the Heisman voting my senior year, and we won the national championship that year. And as a young player with Wilson and McMahon, and then with the other two guys, I personally and we as a team never thought we were ever out of a game. It's like we're looking up at the scoreboard and the clock. We're going, okay, well, we have this much time to score that many points. No problem. Our quarterback is going to make it happen, and we need to support him. The Commanders have that same belief in their quarterback, and they see him making almost magical throws from time to time when it's needed. You know, one of them was a touchdown at the end of the first half to Terry McLaurin. It was like an 18-yard touchdown pass. The defender was right in front of McLaurin, but looking at McLaurin, not the ball. The ball came right next to that defender's head. The defender was watching McLaurin's hands. When the hands start to come up, he would attack McLaurin. Well, McLaurin didn't put his hands up until the last instant. And so when that ball dropped in, the defender raised his hand, but he was just too late. The ball had cleared because McLaurin did not give him the cue by raising his hand. Touchdown. And you know what? Daniels, the quarterback for the Commanders, said after the game that wasn't really a very good throw. It could have been better. Yeah, it was just amazing. Yeah. And the team sees him, and that magic continues to grow because of belief. This
is a heady time right now. And, you know, my personal story, Trevor, I mean, my two favorite teams are teams that have had some really rough times, the Commanders, Skins, and the Lions. And they're both playing like that. They're both playing like every game they're going to win it. And I'm worried about the collision they're about to face in the playoffs. But we'll get there when we get there. Trevor, always good. This is a fun time to be a football fan, isn't it?
Oh, and for the first time in a couple of decades, it's been fun to be a Commanders fan.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Trevor. Actually, technically, first time in history to be fun to be a Commanders fan, because back then we were Redskins fans.
Ah, that's right.
It was fun when we were Redskins fans.
I'm even becoming a bit of a fan.
As well you should.